Hi, hello. It is me, it is I, Small Town Didi, your Rakari on these here internet, and I am back. We're back, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to explain, just in case you wanna know what's going on. We're gonna review it or talk about a little bit, and we'll call it a review, only because the episode was also of Promise Makunyane's reality television or reality show that she has on her YouTube channel. Okay, we're gonna do that, but I also need to explain what's been going on the TikToks regarding the bigger content creators on there that cater to this niche of women and marriage and relationships and divorce and blah blah blah, in case you're confused. Okay, we have a lady by the name of Queen Lee. Now, I might get a little bit lost. You correct me where I got lost, right? And then we have Promise Makunyane, who is the person whose show I reviewed a couple of videos down, titled My Husband This, My Husband That. She has it on her YouTube channel, but she filmed in the format of a reality television show. So that's what you should expect when you tune in. Great. Queen Lee went live a couple of months ago, and something came up in the conversation that she was talking to one of her followers, and she's like, you know, we should really get over this thing. Yeah, people always saying my husband this, my husband that, because lo fellas are fighting with your husbands at home, but you don't know what's going on. This is something that came up on her live, if I remember correctly, right? Came up on a live with a follower of hers. Now, Promise had already been branded this person who's always talking about my man this, my man that, my man this, my man that, my husband this, my husband that, right? I take a hara and assumed that Queen Lee was talking about her when she saw whatever it is that has been said, and she decided to retaliate because that's on brand for her. And she said what she needed to say 3 times. Queen Lee told her, listen, I'm gonna need you to not say this and this and this, Promise, because this wasn't even directed at you, so your anger is misdirected. This is what transpired. But she continued. After the 3rd time she said what it is that she said to Queen Lee, whatever insults she was throwing at her in her comment sections on her videos, Queen Lee decided to retaliate, and she basically blasted her, right? So somebody came to her inbox, from what I remembered, and gave her all of Promise tea. So we can assume it's probably somebody from Promise's hometown or somebody who knows Promise and stuff, and said things about how she married somebody's man, and her man has these kids, and when she married a husband, there was a woman out there who was 7 months pregnant with her husband's kid when they were, all of these things. Promise got mad, said she will sue her for defamation, for lying, for this, that, and the other. And obviously, people are now taking sides. Bloggers are picking this up because it's good traffic on the TikTok. It's all that we're talking about within this little space of TikTok, right? I can't remember if Owami was on TikTok at the time, or if she bothered to address this particular thing, because she's relatively new on TikTok, right? Owami, who's big on here, YouTube. Great. Stay with me. So we have Malisani, who is a Promise supporter, or tends to agree with a lot of the stuff that Promise says. And she's been throwing like shade at Queen Lee, but everybody, she's soft-spoken. Well, it's put on. And everybody's always like, oh, she's so classy and she's so this. Because Queen Lee is a loud, bubbly woman. She actually reminds me of Vinolia. Like back in her Jam Alley days, rest her soul. She reminds me of her, even the aesthetic and just like how loud and outgoing they are. And you know, we like to decide that that means you're ghetto and trashy. And if somebody's soft-spoken like this and they're saying this, then it can't mean that they're insulting you. Even though they're being nasty nice, it's still nasty. Yeah. All right. Just because I say fuck you in this tone, it doesn't mean I didn't say fuck you. Now, does it? No. That's not how this works. That's what's been going on. So Promise launched her reality show on her channel. I reviewed the thing. Owami had things to say. She basically, in the clip that I also attached in my review, confirmed everything Queen Lee had said about her, right? Confirmed it. She even mentioned in that clip that, and then that Magogo ran with the story ageist much. And it's hard to defend Promise when people are coming for her looks and saying she looks much older than she is, because she gets to be ageist here. Queen Lee is an older woman, gorgeous woman who's kept herself up quite nicely. And if you're gonna use those kind of words, it makes it hard to then come and defend you, because I don't like when people speak on her appearance. I really do not like it at all. I think it's low-hanging fruit. I think it lacks creativity. I think there's plenty about her you could come for. For you to constantly come for the fact that she looks older than she is, fine. You feel like she looks, but like, come on now. There's plenty of stuff to attack about Promise. Like, that's lazy. It's lazy. I'm sorry. It is lazy. That's what's been going on. So Owami obviously did her take on this saga, and then Promise retaliated and said things like she addressed this on her channel, Owami. You should probably stay out of this if, like, people, you don't have kids and we don't even know if you can have kids. And it snowballed, guys, and she had to address things about her fertility or infertility. She went through Owami went through the whole thing on YouTube a couple of years ago, explaining her fertility journey, getting her fibroids removed and stuff. This is low of Promise. It's literally the most disgusting thing, but like, it makes sense because we're gonna get into her show in a bit. It makes sense for her to say things like that because she's clearly surrounded herself with women who speak in a similar fashion around such sensitive topics. And Owami did say back that, you know what, throwing your children in my face that were a gift from God or whatever deity that you want to attach here, when you're not in control of life, is really something you shouldn't do. Because just because you have something today, that doesn't mean you need to beat me over the head with it, because you don't know what might happen tomorrow. And then obviously there's some people who have like a difficult time reasoning, and they're like, oh, kids are off limits. What the fuck did she say about the kids? Promise is literally using the fact that she has children to make another woman who struggled conceiving. And everybody's gonna make like try to equate these two things. But that's what's been going on. If you're lost as to what's going on TikTok with the Real Housewives of TikToks, is what the people are calling them, that's what's happening. Now let's get into Promise's show. Promise goes to, is it Dr. Beers? She goes away for the weekend with her mates. Is it her birthday weekend? I think it's her birthday weekend. She's turning 30. She goes away with her mates on this thing. Some of them we met in the previous episode. One of them is it Tisejo? I think so. She has a YouTube channel and she interviewed Promise on there. I think that's where I learned that Promise works in digital marketing and things like that. That's another thing that came out about her. She goes by Mrs. Lowe. That's her channel's name, Mrs. Lowe. And I assumed her husband was a lawyer because she identifies by, and like she's an extension of him. That's how she identifies herself. So I never, because it says Mrs. It would say Miss Law if it was her. So it says Mrs. Law. So I always assumed her husband was a lawyer. It turns out his name is Lawrence. I don't know what he does. They seem to have a comfortable life, so I'm going to assume they've done well for themselves. I'm not too finicky about, oh my God, I thought she was like a lawyer or whatever. It's like, whatever. But anyway, they go away on this vacation or staycation. Who fucking knows? And a lot comes up at the table. And this is why I don't engage in conversations with people I love on religion, especially when we're at opposite ends, because it's so charged, especially for a person like me who knows what it's like to be Christian, to come out of that, to be on my journey of discovery and have the kind of anger that I sometimes experience at some of the teachings of Christianity. She gets into it with this friend of hers. She's over talking her. This episode was a mess, you guys. She's over talking her. The friend says what she needs to say, and she's trying to explain, and she's not finding her words, that she feels like God is like the deity, and getting to him is through so many passages, and that's always made the most sense to me. We're not the same. I'm not like you, you're not like me. The idea that our only way to reach our maker is this one way is one of the things that's just laughable about some of these religions to me. I'm like, are you for fucking real? Are you for fucking real? Is it just one road to get anywhere? Like, what is this? She says this, but you know, the Christians, the Jesus Christ, you know, the guy with the virgin mom, Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior, blah, 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 blah. I think this is the only thing that I agree on with Promise, where her and I might find each other, is on issues of spirituality. Learning about yourself and discovering yourself. She says her husband has converted to Islam, and you know, she's for whatever her husband does, so she might convert to, who knows. I love that they are curious people where faith is concerned, that they want to explore. I love people who are just curious about matters of spirituality, of faith, people who try new things, who try to discover new things, who yearn for that connection with like a greater being. It's I feel like you're using your faculties, like you are trying to get your brain to work. You want purpose. You're trying to find meaning. It's normal behavior. I don't find anything odd with anything that's transpired here. But that's really what's happened. And then they also spoke about, one of her friends is a DJ. She's a lawyer by profession and she's a DJ. And they were talking about taking vitamins when you're pregnant. And they spoke about how, I don't know who this person is, but they know who they are and they would know that these people are talking about me. I think this person lost their kids, or their kids didn't survive after birth, because this person didn't want to take their vitamins because they say they make them gain weight. Now, in recent years, many a celebrity mom has gotten a surrogate, and they all claim it's because they had such a difficult birth the last time. Bullshit. Bullshit. You see the way fat people are treated in society and you want no parts. We're having women now. This lady Jackie O that just died with all these, everything is allegedly because as complications after getting cosmetic surgery or a mommy makeover, right? She's left very, very young kids behind because she had to make sure that she snaps back and she's hot right after her body expanding to accommodate life in it. The pressure that we have, and the insensitivity around it, and making like, I didn't like the tone that Promise and her friend had in this conversation. Yo, guys, there was no sympathy on Promise's part. And for somebody who gets body shamed the way she does, I would have hoped that she understands why a woman would be so afraid to put on weight, because listen to the things that people are saying about her. Right? Just listen to the way that people are talking. And I'm so disappointed in that part. If you missed that part, just go, I don't know why they kept that. I do. That person knows they're talking about them. We may not know who that is, but that was low. But I know plenty of people who are like, I'm not having another baby because I don't want to go through the weight loss thing. It's not worth it. Nobody celebrates you for having to expand and bring life into the world. They'll celebrate you momentarily and then they'll be like, oh, but when is she snapping back? As if we don't understand what a difficult task it is. How your metabolism slows down when you get older. How women in general just carry more fat than men. How much harder it is for us to lose the weight. There's a reason Ozempic has taken off the way it does. I was so disgusted at this conversation. Disgusted. You hear me? But that's Promise. That's on brand. Good for her. She's on our tongues. We're talking about her. If that's what she wanted and she wants us to say these things about her, it's fine. She also talks about parasocial relationships. I think that's the first chat that they have. You know, girl, my husband that love when like they niggas mansplain shit. No, my husband was explaining to me what's a cult following. He says I've reached cult following status, and like that just means that people will agree with me no matter what I say. This is somebody who's starting to smell themselves. Promise is starting to smell herself. It highlights a very important thing though, and as far as parasocial relationships go, and I have my problematic faves. I'd say Bonang is one of my problematic faves, but I don't like how she behaved on that show. I think how she moved on that show on Young, Famous and African was like whack. I think she bullied that boy. I think that shit was low. But I'm not going to support Bonang. I can just say what she did was wrong. Whereas in this instance, Promise has a following, staunch people. And I think that's why I push back against what she says the way I do, because it is dangerous. Because there is a young, impressionable 21-year-old on there who sees her driving a Merc, who sees her doing this and hears her teachings of it's okay to put up with a man humiliating you, embarrassing you, because all that matters is that you're a wife and a mom. And then she doesn't speak of what you need to do to cope with that humiliation and embarrassment. There's a reason, there's a theme as a historian. In Real Housewives shows, there's this thread of addiction, of substance abuse, of medicating, because these women like this wealth, the trappings of wealth, I always say. They like their lifestyles because who the fuck doesn't, right? Let's keep it real now. Who wouldn't want to live comfortable like that? But the things they need to endure in order to stay in these positions take their toll. We are but people when it's said and done. Things take their toll. You cannot come on here and make like the fact that you had to get married to this man while somebody else was pregnant with him. You're now dealing with co-parenting with 2 other women. Make like that is not strenuous. Make like that doesn't take a strain on you. Telling women, guys, she fixed her. I will never forget this TikTok, and to God, I wish I'd saved it. She said it and I heard it. That, yeah, now her thing is, she'll only leave her marriage if her man says, but no other woman is going to remove her from that. How Danae Jackson is that? I said that in the last review, right? Danae Jackson is on the internet still tagging the side chicks because she didn't leave that marriage. If Derek came back today and said, baby, I'm so sorry, let's make it work, she'd be like, take it, haters, because she still just wants to be Mrs. Jackson. Did Danae seem fucking normal to you at the end there? Did she? So it promotes that, right? I see women in my life who put up with men that treat them like trash because maybe they come from situations where they don't want their kids to grow up without a dad, or they had a mom that wasn't partnered, whatever the issue is. Or even that they come from partnered situations and they come from families where divorce is not allowed, right? It's those things. Like, you want to be able to say, we've been together for 30 years, but like, it's been an ashy 30 years. It's been ashy. But that's that. That's all that happened on Promise's show. I feel like I gave it more depth than what actually transpired on there, but that's what I do. Okay? Not look who's smelling herself. Mwah, mwah. Bye,